Okay. I am giving you a term called linguistic hegemony. This is linguistic hegemony. Does anyone have any idea about what it could be? Linguistic hegemony. Have you heard about it? Any idea of what it might mean? Yes.
Linguistic hegemony usually means language trying to overpower those regional subdialects or the other languages that flourish at any given
Exactly. So one language trying to overpower the others. But why would we talk about the supremacy of a particular language? Why do we need it at all?
Because culture is transferred through language.
Okay.
So if you try to impose a culture or cultural practices, then you would use language. Easiest way to do it.
Okay.
One of the easiest ways.
So we are trying to say that language is directly related to culture. What else? Yes?
Political domination.
Political domination. And since we are talking about language, we all have a predominant language that we are most comfortable with, which is mostly our mother language. In most of the cases, it is our mother language. It also gives us our identity of who we are. If you remember, during the freedom struggle of India, there were regions that were coming up. Punjab had come up, Maharashtra had come up, Bengal had come up, primarily because they could communicate with each other in their mother language, in a common language. That is one of the reasons. I mean, we are talking about how culture and supremacy and political power, political dynamics are controlled by language. Do we see linguistic supremacy anywhere or hegemony anywhere? One language trying to overpower other. Today, in today's India, can we identify?
If you see the South, people there are not very comfortable with the speakers of Hindi.
But do they impose it on anybody else?
They don't impose it, but they're not ready to take Hindi as
hegemony
as a national language.
So a sense of hegemony exists within themselves. Any
I think that I see as a way of resistance to hegemony, because they are not accepting an attempt towards dominating a particular region which is not primarily.
So which one is that region and which one is the language?
Kannada, I have heard the resistance is quite high.
Even Tamil Nadu. Okay. So Hindi, there's a misconception.
Policy, if you look at, Hindi is getting imposed as a final language that each and every child will have to learn and continue.
Exactly.
I think that is an example of linguistic.
And also, if you ask a layman what is the national language of India, many of us still do not know that India does not have a national language. They will tell you Hindi is the national language. No, Hindi is one of the 22 official languages of the country. Bengal has the liberty of using Bengali as the official language of the state. So does Gujarat and Maharashtra and any other state. So the imposition of Hindi and trying to make people believe that Hindi is superior, and if you do not know Hindi, you are not enough a Hindustani, is an example of hegemony. Another very good example of hegemony is something that had happened in 1951 in the then Pakistan, now Bangladesh. Pakistan was formed in 1947 during the partition of India, and Pakistan consisted of West Pakistan, which is the present Pakistan, and East Pakistan, which is the present Bangladesh. And we understand that there was a distance, a huge distance, and the majority of the population in Pakistan per se were Bengali, 60%, and yet the government of Pakistan, the then government of then Pakistan, said that we want to introduce Urdu as the mother language. So the Bengalis, the majority says, no, I mean it's okay, you introduce Urdu but also have Bengali, because Bengali is 60% of us, it's a majority. They say no. And that from there begins a lot of fight and a movement. And on 21st February, the Pakistani armed force opened fire on the students of Dhaka University.
Year, which year?
1951. 1951, 21st February. Today it has been identified, recognized as the International Mother Language Day. And that shows how there cannot be a hegemony. It's not an International Bengali Language Day. It's a Mother Language Day. But see how just a friend of mine was saying that most of the Kashmiri parents do not speak to their kids in Kashmiri anymore. They feel that it is more important for the kids to learn Hindi because they have to go and survive in the mainland Hindi.
Not only that, I have heard that if a child does not have Hindi in grades 9 and 10, with all probability will not be eligible to sit for the admin exams later on.
Administrative examination.
This is
that is exactly why.
If you look at all the national circulars, I mean, they are all circulars come in Hindi first and then English. Although English, again, it's not a mother language, but officially English is well. People are more aware of English, but imposing circulars in Hindi, which many of us, even though it's not my mother language, I can read and write Hindi, but I can't get those technical terms. You're forcing me to read those important circulars in Hindi.
Exactly.
And so that's another example.
Yeah, so enforcing one language over another, that is a way of trying to take away the identity of people. So why we are talking about linguistic hegemony is there's a beautiful story that we have called The Last Lesson that is set in France. And this happens during the Franco-Prussian War in the 19th century. And this region in France, Alsace and Lorraine, which is also very close to Germany, which was then known as Prussia, was gaining an upper hand in the war. And finally there comes a time when Germany says that from today onwards, you do not get to learn your mother language anymore. German becomes the official language. So see, exactly like Meghali said in the beginning, that this also talks about the power dynamics, the political power dynamics. So when you have the you have the muscle power and you have the political power, you can curb the identity of the common people by taking away their mother language. Okay, so are we clear about political, we understand what is linguistic hegemony. Any other question, anybody? Any question? Yes.
About the psychological need to
Yes.
confirm. So when we are talking about linguistic hegemony, we are talking about an on your face hegemonic demand for, let's say, you have to speak Hindi. But what about the psychological echoes of the British Empire, for example?
Exactly.
The fact that no one has told you that if you are talking in English, it makes you worthwhile or it
Makes you superior.
Exactly, commands respect. Yet in our country, if you look at small towns or transitional areas, English is something that they can't do without, because that fetches respect, that fetches your job. So somewhere linguistic hegemony is not just about what is being enforced on your face on paper, but it's also a psychological remnant of what you have experienced as a country and how you deal with it. So it continues to be there, and if you look at Poland, if you look at Russia, it's the same.
Exactly. Even for Scotland, for that matter. So any other questions, anybody? Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am.